This week, New York City police officer Jonathan Diller was fatally shot during a routine traffic stop, marking the first killing of an NYPD officer in 2 years. Diller was a devoted husband, a loving father to his 1-year-old, and came from a family of police officers, including his brother-in-law, a former NYPD officer, and his cousin, currently an NYPD officer. And the suspects were Guy Rivera, who's accused of shooting him, and Lindy Jones, the accused driver. And according to sources, Officer Diller and his partner approached the car Rivera was in because it had been parked illegally, and Rivera had refused to cooperate before shooting Diller in the stomach. He then directed his gun at Rivera's partner, who was able to shoot and injure Rivera and take him to the hospital to be treated. And now, some of his charges include first-degree murder, attempted murder for aiming at a second police officer, and he may face life in prison without parole. And Jones, although insisting he didn't know Rivera before letting him hitch a ride, was arraigned on 2 counts of second and third-degree criminal possession of a weapon, after finding a 9mm with the serial number scratched off in his car. And Rivera has over 21 prior arrests, including attempted aggravated assault, and 5 years for selling drugs and assault once again. And Jones has 14 prior arrests, including criminal possession of a loaded firearm in April of 2023, for which he was out on bail at the time, as well as serving 10 years in jail for attempted murder and robbery. Yep, I think it's super plausible that Lindy Jones had no idea who Guy Rivera was before entering his car, and we clearly can't chalk this up to somebody who doesn't respect the law. But obviously, sarcasm aside, let's focus back on Jonathan Diller and his family and his other loved ones, because in the wake of his shooting, there was a large vigil held for him.
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
He loved what he did. He was born to be a cop. He was born to be a hero. He died being a hero. He died doing what he loved.
Jonathan Diller's brother-in-law Joseph held it in as long as he could tonight, but after a few minutes, he couldn't help but cry.
And I will forever be a better person because of him.
So did many of the more than 1,000 people who came out to Massapequa's Brady Park. NYPD officers, local police officers, friends, neighbors, to show unity, to stand together as a community.
I just felt the need to be here.
And someone very familiar showed up.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank Bruce and all of the people that have worked so hard to make this area beautiful and safe. And this is what happened. Is such a sad event, such a horrible thing. And it's happening all too often. And we're just not going to let it happen. We just can't. 21 times arrested, this thug. And the person in the car with him was arrested many times. And they don't learn because they don't respect. They're not given the respect. The police are the greatest people we have. There's nothing and there's nobody like them. And this should never happen. I just visited with a very beautiful wife that now doesn't have her husband. Stephanie was just incredible. Their child, brand new, beautiful baby, sitting there innocent as can be, and doesn't know how his life has been changed. But the Diller family you'll never be the same. You can never be the same. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it. We have to get back to law and order. We have to do a lot of things differently because this is not working.
And afterwards went on to talk about how meaningful this was to him.
Stephanie's incredible, and they wanted me to be there, and I wanted to be there, and I came in from Florida. And what a family, the Diller family. And they lost a hero, really. I mean, just a hero. They're devastated. The family is devastated. The police force is devastated. The whole country feels this way. And
not only is he a police officer in the prime of his life cut down, this guy had 70 collars in 3 years. He loved doing the job, and this is a blue blood family.
True. Blue blood and top of his class and everything perfect. A beautiful record of doing his job properly and fairly. And this is what happens. It's just so horrible. Jonathan was, they say, walking the top. He was the top in every respect, top of his class. And this happened to somebody that should not have happened.
So in that town, my town, there'll be about 100,000 police officers. They're coming from Texas. They're coming from all around. What are your thoughts when you see men and women in blue show up for someone's funeral they never met.
But when I was leaving, we're driving down the road, and it felt like we were driving for miles, and there were men and women in blue. They were going for such a period of this. I said, that's a lot of people.
It's moving.
That was a long blue line.
Right.
That was a long blue line indeed, and that's respect. They have respect for this family. They have respect for what Jonathan meant, and to me, they're the most brave people. Look,
And Dillard's loved ones described the experience.
Well, I have to tell you that President Trump was a source of comfort to the family. He spent over 10 minutes with Stephanie, the widow, in private. And then he went out into the main hall where the casket was laid and where Police Officer Dillard's body was laid. And he and Stephanie prayed together. They talked about what a great guy Jonathan was. And then President Trump went to each member of the family and offered his condolences. And the family asked him to sign a mass card. He sat down, signed the mass card, and then he got up. And then Police Officer Diller's grandmother asked the president for a hug. And he embraced her and held her very tightly. And as he left that area with over 200 of friends and families of Police Officer Diller, with their little boy Ryan, with Police Officer Diller's mother Fran, with his brother and sister and son-in-law, they did something I've never seen before, Janine, at a wake. They gave him a rousing ovation. They clapped their hands and showed their gratitude for President Trump's kindness and for his compassion. It was a very, very beautiful and warm moment. It's one that I will never forget, and I think it was very comforting for the family.
Meanwhile, New York Governor Hochul was given quite different treatment. Now, one thing you'll notice was as Governor Hochul was being asked to leave, people started clapping. And while personally, I wouldn't give somebody the boot from my loved one's funeral unless they did something that was completely unforgivable, I can also understand how Dillard's family would be feeling, because the statistics tell it all. As this year reported New York subway crimes up almost 50% since 2023, and a 53% increase in felony assaults from 2019 to 2023. Hardly surprising when we're prosecuting people like Daniel Penny, who was trying to protect the subway from that maniac Jordan Neely, someone with 42 prior arrests, and was threatening people on the subway. And in case you haven't already heard, this week in New York City, we've heard multiple reports of girls getting punched.
I was in New York City looking for an apartment, and I stopped at this cute little deli bakery, tiny place, and I walked in and I was shooting the baked goods. And as I turned around, the place was the size of a bathroom, turned around to walk out the door. I was walking out the door and this guy punched me, hit me it wasn't like a closed fist, just hit me in the face. And I was completely stunned. And I walked outside, and my driver, who's also security, I looked at him and gestured over to this man, this homeless man, to explain to him that I had just been hit, but I didn't want to provoke this guy even more. And he went over and started confronting the guy. And I was like, let's get the hell out of here. And at that point, I texted the broker and said, I don't want to see apartments anymore. This city's insane.
You guys, I was literally just walking and a man came up and punched me in the face. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. I can't even talk. Literally, I fell to the ground and now this giant goose egg is forming and I'm like, oh my God, it looks so crazy.
So I just got back from the emergency room after getting punched in the face. They confirmed I do have a concussion from being hit so hard, which is honestly insane, but also kind of just validating for the way that I feel right now. So we officially have a concussion, a black eye, and a chipped tooth. It's minimal, but it's definitely there. I think I like bit down so hard when I got hit that he chipped my tooth. So many of you have sent me DMs sharing your own story of when you've been hit in New York, which is like so not okay, but I am a little bit overwhelmed, I think, with all the messages I've been receiving, and doctor's orders are to not look at a screen right now, so I'm just gonna take like a little bit of a break from my phone. But if you've shared your story and I haven't responded, just know that I'm so sorry that this happened. I'm gonna get through all of these. Like, I want to respond to everyone. I'm so sorry that this has happened to more people than just me. That is seriously so insane and not okay.
And it's even more infuriating when you hear the police response.
I did talk to a police officer and kind of bummed out about that in hindsight, because I wanted to file a report, but he told me, he was really nice, honestly, but he told me that the two options were either get in his car and we drive around and try to go find this man and arrest him. And at that point, like, I was uncontrollably sobbing and I didn't want to do that. I also had no clue where this man just went and I didn't want to just like endlessly drive around. The second option was file a report, but he told me if we did that, he would have to call an ambulance to check me out. And I straight up said I can't pay for an ambulance. Like, I'm a broke fashion student. That's not an option for me. And he was like, well, that's it. I've since learned from TikTok that that was not true, and I can still file a report without having an ambulance called. So I'm going to do that. Thank you guys again so much for all this information. It's actually been so helpful.
So yeah, in a place that prosecutes people for upholding the law and then dissuades people from trying to report actual crimes, I might be upset at the governor myself, and to a degree, the entire woke establishment. Because while Trump was there to stand in solidarity, Joe Biden was also in New York City this week, but for more pressing business, to attend a fundraiser, which had many celebrities, including Lizzo, in an event that raised over $25 million and was blasted by the attorney of the backup dancers who accused Lizzo of sexual harassment. And as of the date of recording, I have yet to hear or see anything from the Biden administration offering their condolences to Jonathan Diller and his family. But what else do you expect from an administration, or a president for that matter, who doesn't address Laken Riley's gruesome murder at the State of the Union until pressed hard on it, and then to add salt in the wound, will apologize for addressing the killer for what he is, aka an illegal immigrant? This, to me, is only encouraging lawlessness, and we're going to keep seeing innocent police officers die at the hands of somebody who doesn't respect the law, something we see far too often. But if you disagree with my thoughts on this matter, let me know in the comments. But out of consideration for Jonathan Diller and his loved ones, please do it respectfully. And in the meantime, please pray for anybody who was affected by this senseless tragedy. Rest in peace, hero. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, hopefully I've earned a subscription. Here's some videos for you to watch in the meantime. Until next time, peace out.